We'll see if I can mix it up a little bit, throw my day off in the best way. I want to talk about black men, women in the tantric space. The tantric space. What do we encounter? Why do we typically feel like we can't fuck with it? And also, we do have some great folks, great individuals that we come in contact with of various different hues in the human who also have marvelous, pure intentions for allowing us to get to know the energy that we navigate. But we also have heritages where we've been given and we've continued to move through with a deeper sense of something being off. We live in a society where we can feel things are a little bit off or a lot off. And then to start to dive into our chakras, our energy points, without, a deeper, more profound, continually questioning attitude will leave you in a different place altogether. And so what I've seen in my travels is a lot of confusion. I have seen people beautifully open up to navigate their energy. And what I have seen that I don't hear so often is a lot of, not just seen but experienced, vampirism, right? And by vampirism, I mean, because they're friendly vampires. Everything exists in my frame of mind. But as it exists, how does it interact with you? What do you feel? Have we cultivated a space where we can actually feel what the attraction and the pull to each person that we come across is? What is the underlying mechanics to our journey within this realm? And so how do we then jump into these spaces where we're navigating, we're opening ourselves up to our sex, where some of us have come from very interesting religious backgrounds that already had us way confused. And we have urges, different urges around our sex, what we want to have, what we believe other people have that maybe we should have, how we eat, how we sleep, our energy levels. And so we're in a realm that is a continual matrix, but the matrix is essentially a lie. Okay, we've heard this before. What does it mean? To say that the matrix is a lie, to say that there is a thing around us that is being projected in a visible spectrum, and I really hope some of you guys start to check in with Savan Bomar because he shares so much, Bro Sanchez because he speaks to so much about, Ken Wheeler speaking to electromagnetism. So I'm sharing, and I want to always give receipts, but I've always been concerned with and interested in line with intimacy as to what's really there, what's going on. And there have been instances where I really put myself out there, and there's been instances where I really kept myself close and, gave myself the opportunity to feel my energy in my allegiance to the divine and my purpose, and wanting to not forget, wanting to not fall too deep into slumber in the process, because this is what happens. And it's shown to us in the movies. It is shown to us in all of the different arenas. A lot of what we experience is Truman Show. A lot of what we experience is theater, whether it's the war theater, where we all play our part, some of us, or it's the theatrics of politics, or, pushing us, like dividing us and pitting us against each other to keep us busy and to not allow us to cultivate different levels of energy that are needed to crystallize who we are, to be able to project ourselves through this space and time, so-called space and time, in a way that we've been designed to do. We're in magnificent, very powerful skinships of kinship, which means we're in relationships, we're in these vessels that we pour, that we have our consciousness navigating, we're plugged in, and we get to have an experience, magnificent experience, where we learn, where we feel certain things, where we have emotions. These emotions are energy emotions, but we only exist within a certain spectrum. I really enjoyed one of Savan Bomar's builds recently, where he was speaking to us, being in that little visible light spectrum, but what it means, and also being able to go from the big to the small. So the clues are all there, the information's there, but our ability to discern and decipher is also tied to how much attention we can dedicate, how much time that we have, and ability and willpower that we have to make certain decisions, and to allow those decisions to increase our energy field and also to come to clarity. Now, often we're told that we're activating our Kundalini, which is also your imagination energy, right? And those of you who are interested in to go deeper in these things, to get an underlying foundation, if you can stomach, if you can stomach the way that the words come across, I would suggest you check out the writings of P.D. Uspensky, because what I've seen, I've always been curious as to what's at the root. I had an uncle who used to play music for me, and I'd play the new music, and he'd always pull out the old records, and I was like, damn. And then the old records would have samples from older things, so I'm now getting to go into that, as well as to dive into some more physical practices that will help to hone and allow me to stay awake. But what you should know is that as you endeavor in the work to go deeper, the work, the service, but into awakening, into deeper levels of awakened consciousness, you will navigate more resistance. But it's natural, it's a natural thing. You try to go this way, you run, you start to feel the wind. You get in a car and take off, you have a wind chill factor. So a lot of people get discouraged and they stand in between two things. It could be called lukewarm, or, P.D. Uspensky, and speaking of Gurdjieff, these are Russian writers, would say you're in between two stalls. And we are ever pushed in between more than two stalls, and we end up stalling, right? We're not able to get somewhere, but there's the appearance of getting somewhere. So I'm going to bring it back to the journey into tantric spaces. You are a tantric being. There are many different directions to go. I'm a fan of studying and learning, but I'm also a fan of taking the space away to really learn how to feel into what's going on within your frame, and then to see if that's aligned. I've been in many tantric spaces, I've held space for things, but I haven't participated in all the wild sex that goes on, but I have participated in some wild sex. That's just me, right? So I'm balanced. My dear friend Sashi, she just posted something which I think is really relevant, speaking to the nice guy and what he goes through, and then the bad boy, considered bad boy, and what they go through. And I've navigated in both those spaces too, right? And so at the core of the work is, where's the fulfillment? What do you want? What does the bad boy want? What's he looking for in truth? What's he trying to avoid? The nice guy, what does he want? What is he seeking? What is he trying to avoid? So if we were to speak to those two different aspects of the man navigating, and of course the women also have these characteristics, how about we seek to be the fulfilled person? So what I'm looking to do, and what I am doing, is helping men through these 8-week programs, through the Masterminds, and also putting myself through these programs, initiations, working with the medicine of the heart, connecting the mind to the heart, but going beyond, and vice versa. And it's really coming to a space of identifying what is truly fulfilling and aligning now not just what feels good in the moment, because that's cool, but what is fulfilling in the long term? What's fulfilling to the legacy that I want to create? What kind of legacy do I want to leave for the next 7 generations? We hear all this stuff about, in the spiritual space, about different folks, different groups, tribes, peoples who have been working in a way that considers the next 7 generations. Well, here we are. We'll say 7 generations later. Where are we at? So I look at the intention, and then I'm going to look at the result, what's manifested, so that I know what I need to do to benefit. So I love the ethos. I'm going to implement that in the way that I move. Not just, I've been really next generation. Now I'm going to go 7 generations. But I can't predict everything that's going to happen. But some of the shit you can predict. Why? Because generations ago, what's happening now was predicted. How did they do it? It's about observation. Being able to take observation of things that happened before, getting correct information, being able to decipher the keys that are left for you to understand the things that are going on, and to be able to know when you're being distracted, to have an idea about where your energy and your attention is being pulled. You see, I don't expect big things in terms of attention for what I'm sharing here, because it's counter to what's being navigated. But there are some of you who will listen and who will feel the truth in what I'm speaking to, and will take it to the next step. That's all I could ask for. And I'm happy with that, because I'm going to continue to do that within my own self, within my own frame. So I know that I can expect some resistance for sure, but I can also respect and expect the fact that there will be correspondence, because I'm working so below. So I'm going to expect to see that above, within, and without. So I'm really working on the community that is Ezria now I get to build. Now I get to step into a space with the internal martial arts and Kung Fu and Tai Chi and combat training, etc. But I'm doing it not so that I can go, mess with people per se, but so that I can build and fortify the vessel for what's to come. Even if it doesn't come in my lifetime, the work that I do to fortify my vessel will be passed on genetically, energetically, in the information that proceeds from me into the next, person that I create. And I can also pass the information down by being part of the community as I learn more Spanish, as I, kick it with the invasion folks and family, and they just feel the vibe. Really, I don't have to talk as much as I do, but I like talking, and there's a lot that I know that I already know how to emit without using any words. But I like words, and they're here, and I'm learning how to use them because it's been a journey. I know what it was to be frustrated and not know how. And so here's the opportunity now for you to receive from these lives. Check out the YouTube. I'm going to post them because I know Instagram's for short chats, so I may wrap it soon. But one of the things that I want to get into speaking, because I will speak to it, because I do have experience that I haven't talked about, is I'm going to speak to the black man's experience in the so-called tantric spaces. But it's just one experience, but it's worthy to be spoken of and to be known. And there are other folks who help guide people. There's maybe brown people are afraid to be in a space of people who throughout history have fucked with them and, mistreated them, etc. Now, this generation may not have been the same people that did it before. It's okay, but you're still going to be looking at, hey, these are the kids of the people who have created constructs that really took advantage of our ignorance, of our happy-go-lucky, and also there are people who look just like us who have done the same thing. So I'm not in a space of victimhood, but I am in a space of having looked and observed, and now, with that curiosity, I'm not being pulled astray by so many of the shiny bells and whistles. And yet I know that there is a value to navigating and to learning about Tantra, tantric spaces, but there's a deeper value, aloha, my dear, in being able to hone in, to connect with the elements, to honor the things around you, but because you're composed of the elements. So are you connecting with the elements of who you are? Are you able to present that in some wisdom? Or are you being dragged apart? Are you being eaten by folks who, with the story of the vampire, well, you have other folks who've been bitten by vampires. They don't even know. They've just been bitten. They get this rush. They get all this energy and all these things, but they don't know what to do with the enhancements that come with having been bit and received the vampirism, so to say. And then also, they may proceed in certain ways to go and create more of that. And so I see an element of that in a lot of our spiritual spaces. I've seen that element, especially in Bali, in the tantric spaces, where people actually felt me as I came in, but I'm coming from such a strange, unique ceremonial space that I couldn't even talk about yet. And so my eyes were super open and I could feel the scowl, like this kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So during that time, I kept to myself. I still was out sharing, but I was also very aware of the many different ways where people would hook into your energy. And because I had tapped into something else, I would actually let people hook in, because I'm like, well, it's not just my energy. So let's see what happened, especially being suicidal. What up, my brother? Check this live out. I'm gonna drop a bunch of knowledge. I'm gonna disappear from Instagram in a certain way. So I'm on the major run. I'm now speaking to being brown in the tantric spaces. I'm speaking to, because who else is gonna talk about it, right? How funny we feel sometimes with the weird shit that goes on that's not really aligned to our culture. Now, that's okay, because there's also beautiful things, and we do weird shit that other cultures who aren't brown like us may come in. I'm also not on the melanin trip because everyone has melanin. So it's not so much melanin magic, it's magic, but every being in the hue spectrum has some degree of melanin. So good, Me as a brown person, I'm navigating with the consciousness of this is just my vessel and this is just my prism. So I'm shining the light through with the wisdom and the understanding of my unique experience. But I also maintain my fucking experience will be heard because it's worth being heard. And I will speak it, not speaking it to beat down on people's head, but because if we actually want unity, then you must receive my perspective. Because I've been listening to everyone else's perspective and I enjoy it. I love white people. I love Chinese. I love all these different monikers, these different names that have been given to the human, because I love people. I love humans. So it's not that I'm ever trying to separate. I will sometimes sit brown, black people aside to have their experience, just as an experience of sharing what's going on with them. Just as one might say, hey, we're women, and we want to just be with women because we've been abused by men. Okay, so you allow the women to meet with each other, to meet each other in a different way, to open and feel safe. I do the same with men, right? So I'm willing to do all the segments of solo work that needs to be done to bring us all together. And anyone who's known me my entire fucking life knows, I'm talking about whole life, like a whole life policy, but better. My entire journey here in my carnation has been, let's bring everyone together. I will fight for what I believe in. Since I was a kid, I've been scrapping. And I'm willing to fight myself to not fight and to not lay hands on people, because that's also not the way all the time. So it's been a matter of intimacy through discerning, and also being now and getting to a space where I can guide people to make great decisions, because I'm about men being fulfilled and cultivating the profundity of what they are, because I can see it. I can see it before a man opens his mouth. And of course I can see it in women and children. So to put my vision out, we get together as men. We move through these initiations. You share who you really are, because I can hold space for it. Women, I can do the same. I've been holding space for women. I'll continue to do so. But now I'm just focusing on the men. And then I'll offer something. I'll offer an event where the men and the women can get together, so the women can see the progression of the men, which is an activation in and of itself. And I'll also hold space for them, so that's a balance, so that I'm not like, oh, forget the ladies. How could we ever, And then with the intention of assisting the children. If you have stronger men in society who hold the structure for the chaos and the beauty and the unfoldment of the divine feminine, well, we're in sort of in an order, right? Holding that structure allows for that creativity, which is a part of us, to be expressed. So it's complementary aspects that we're holding with each other. And in doing so, then the children get the example of seeing, I know what it's like to look at my mom and dad in love with each other. I've read love letters from my parents, one another. What's up, Lang? Yeah. And I've also navigated so much in this body in the short years that I've been here, double, maybe even triple the amount of shit that I would have expected to experience for this time. And I'm over it. Over it in a way that, if you need to know the story, I'll share it with you. Or if I need to validate myself, I don't need to validate me to me, but I'll do it for you for a little bit. But more so, so that you can feel confident in navigating with me. But the intention is now the work. I'm eyes on the prize right now. And the prize is going to take a lot, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about whatever resistance is going to come my way, internally or externally, because I think after so long, you get, you put your time in, and then you start to realize, oh, every fucking thing that happens is going to cultivate me. Every moment that I have to navigate my own personal fears and worries and my uncertainty, well, there's an answer somewhere. I've got answers for people, which means the universe has answers for me. And for damn sure, I'm getting a lot of answers. And so now it's just for me to distill what I'm learning. Coming back to Lang, and I was speaking to this, my brother, and I think it's important because we're going to talk about this in our get-togethers, and I'll be doing this in the men's groups as well. I've been kind of waiting, right, for the time, but for someone doing an 8-week program with me, then we can just go all in. Or if we want to continue, we've been navigating, we're looking at what's important to you in relationship. Ultimately, I'm going to see you. I already see your victory. I see it. You know this. You've got to feel this in my energy for you. And so where we're going is, what does it look like for you to have a life of fulfillment as a man in this ever-changing society with principles that are time-tested, and also getting to create the new, what does it look like to be the new man, the new profound man nowadays, where you're in your power, you steward your power properly, you're willing and able to fucking defend if you need to, because I know you got training, right? And also, you hold it to help people and just really benefit the people around you just by being there, by knowing the things that you know about yourself without having to do anything. So you could just be the presence and be silence and be energetically affecting everyone around you. That is part of your Tantra as well. And so most of what we're speaking to and hearing in the Tantra realm, in areas that I'm not super learned, but I know how to listen and I that's what's important. I know how to do some things, but who cares? Really, it's being able to observe and witness and being aligned in truth. And I also see people, especially in the illusion, the Maya that is Tulum, the Maya that is the illusion that we navigate in this construct. We get lulled to sleep by lullaby, in Pan's labyrinth, which is a specific place for learning, and the process is awakening. And so what's happening is, in a lot of the tantric spaces, folks are also still navigating a space of trauma. There are things that they haven't learned about themselves. They're not solid in a way. And then they come into these other experiences that open them up. And also there's an energy exchange that may feel good. Even with the medicines, you may feel like, oh, wow, woo, I've never felt like this before. And you learn one aspect of yourself, but then to ground it in, to say, okay, you've experienced this, you've navigated, you've opened up your chakras, but have you grounded it in a way that you can still function in society, that you can still cool it off if you need to? Or you fucked for a long time and you don't know it? Are you being, that sounds funny to say tantra, but what I mean is, has your brain, your mind, your ability to see been dropped into another deeper, more interesting illusion that's going to be harder for you to navigate out of? Because ultimately it's not really benefiting you, it's leaving you in a loop, right? In the Torah, and really it's the writings, okay? I think even, was it Ecclesiastes or Proverbs, it speaks to, I'm paraphrasing, hooray for the kingdom that has a king or princes that eat for strength and not for pleasure. That's just a way of saying, hey, our journey is the journey of cultivating strength. We will have pleasure in the process, but it's really not to be the end-all be-all, unless that is your goal, for it to be the end-all be-all. But there's more things for us to navigate to have a true fulfillment. Sometimes the fulfillment comes in a delayed gratification. Even being able to learn about the delaying of that gratification to navigate hard times. Men are built for certain things, and it feels like now a lot of fellows don't understand that. And so to get close to wrapping it, I began this speaking to my desire and the will, and also saying that I will speak to the brown, black as experience in the tantric spaces. You may wonder, when we go, maybe I'll be in this space and I'm like, man, there's not a lot of brothers here. Just like in Tulum, man, there's not a lot of military people here. Well, the environment is not yet conducive. It's not shame on the brown people for not coming in. It's not shame on the white people for the space being what it is. I'm hyperbolizing everything in these two dynamics because everything's in between. But really speaking to, things happen in their time, and it's worth looking at, and to get to an understanding of what is a proper journey in one's tantra, where do we need to be more solid, where are we open to expand, who is the proper person, who are the proper people to be able to hold space for the real expression of someone's experience, and then where do we go from there? So if you're coming into spaces where you're still repressing yourself, if you're navigating subtle, direct or indirect, say racism, right? Because the people in the space don't even understand the racism that they propagate, which does happen. And or if you're in a space where people are speaking to any other thing that you're navigating from ignorance, and then perpetuating your feeling of, I can't open up all the way here. Well, then where's the intimacy? Where do you begin to move forward in the work? Where's the trust for the leadership in that space? We need to be able to speak to what's on the table. And then we need to be able to identify, is what we think we see on the table what's actually there? What is the source? So I was really happy to see that post from Sashi, because she's a tantric woman. She's holding spaces. There are not a lot of brothers like me or sisters maybe coming into those spaces, but I know she's a safe person by who she is. And that's a character thing. So we focus on character. And there are some brothers who are holding the space, say Master Yao, okay? And Lang will speak to all these things as well before we wrap, our 8-week journey, because I want you to have some resources. But again, here's the thing, and I posted this in a post a long time ago with my father and I sitting there. My father always used to say, first things first. So, my question for so many of us who are excited by all these things that are being presented to us are, well, the question is, what is the first thing for you? Where are you at? Where do you want to go? Where are you at right now before you jump in to some frying pan? Are you prepared? Who can you speak to make a proper assessment of what you believe you are at the time, just so that you can ping, because this is how we get there. Consciousness reflecting. And how do you determine if that person also is the right person? You don't have to take everything that I'm saying to heart, but you can definitely listen and feel into it and see what resonates. And I'll save this, maybe I'll put this on my YouTube page as well, for posterity's sake. Then you'll be able to come back and be like, whoa, Ez was talking some strange shit, but you know what? Time has passed. And so much of what he spoke to has unfolded, and so now I can understand in a different way. Thanks for dropping those jewels. Or you may just leave this and forget and move into the dream a little bit deeper. My journey is to step into more awakening, to guide people in the process, hence the mastermind. Yes, the masterminds will help you to make more finances available to you. It'll help you in your relationships and business, but ultimately it's going to help you because you'll be able to awaken to what is and to what isn't, within and without, and you'll have a blueprint to be able to navigate it. Then you go from there, because my journey is a journey of helping to awaken, and I will fall asleep at times. So it's nice to know that there's other people who are dedicated to the work, as Gurdjieff would call it, P.D. Ouspensky calls it, and the work is the work of awakening truth. That's what we look into with the Buddha and with Christ, and the information and the dialogue, that you'll find in the Bhagavad Gita. So all of these books, the Tao Te Ching or the Tao Te Ching, however you guys want to pronounce it, and so much of what speaks to the way, navigating the way, which is my main concern in this life, and how the way relates to me, which would be intimacy, is found in our ability to navigate discernment, to recognize when we're being lulled to sleep, and to cultivate deeper access to the reservoirs of the energetics that help our consciousness to have the most high value experience in these bodies here, which is an experience of fulfillment and profundity, profound fulfillment, where you wake up, as I do from time to time, and more so now than ever before, and go, whoo, man, this is amazing. I love this space. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Wow, do you know who I get to talk to today? I do, because it's on my schedule. I can't wait. And also, wow, it really took all that just to make it to this moment that I would have missed had I not made this decision, this decision, this decision. So that's the opportunity to reflect, okay? Tantric spaces, many of our spiritual spaces are spaces where people are taking advantage of you. And that's business as usual to them, because that's the game to them. They're taking advantage. They're siphoning your energy, also in the dating spaces, right? So in all of these, in the coaching spaces, people are, I'm here to give, but there will be an exchange. Whatever I ask for in my own personal rule, I ask for a certain amount, I give 2 to 3 times the value for that amount. That feels good to me, and that's actually a good way to go about things. So I know that, and I have my rules. My rules are, hey, cover the shit off bat. Why? Because that frees me to really give all the value that I want to give. And so this is why. And I also like to give people what they ask for in terms of their value. I've never been a super bargaining person, although I can do it. But I've always been, and I did have a great profession, and I came up working and was able to make money pretty much all the time because I hustled. So I have hustle mentality, and I like to spend, and I like to add value to people's perception of their own value, which they're not seeing. And so sometimes you give them the finance and the currency to help them flow, kickstart. In a business such as the spa, I know what the entire staff wants to do besides working at the spa. So I can be working on ways to help cultivate them and just pour that right into our meetings, And then in the tantric spaces, well, because I'm aware of the foundations that are necessary and the fact that people will burn up one chakra and then everything's connected. So if you overuse one chakra, then the rest of the body and the other chakras have to compensate, then you're in an imbalance. And so many of us, myself included, have been in imbalances. I know how to balance myself out, the workshops that I have coming up. Now I'm going to do a month of Tai Chi with my Kung Fu instructor and begin my own journey in my personal martial arts. So on Sundays, we'll have a donation-based, maybe $22, and then people can donate more if they want to. Actual opportunity to sit with a Tai Chi master, someone who's also in line, a student and now teacher of Wing Chun, who's very close to, again, the lineage of Ip Man, which would be also with Bruce Lee. And he and I are going to journey further because I'm going to, get some deeper combat training, and I may make a retreat just for men. But the Sunday gathering that I'm going to do online is going to include men and women, because I think it's nice for women to know this, and it's also beautiful to be in the energy of them when they're practicing their Tai Chi, which is also your Tantra, right? And so men in these spaces getting to know themselves, men in spaces getting to know themselves with men navigating in spaces with many different, facets of who they are, and exploring, sometimes well in advance of them having been prepared to go into those spaces, creates a dynamic of molestation. And from what I see in many of the tantric spaces, it can be the yogic space, it can be the medicine space, it can be the coaching space, can be, why? Because they're all connected. And you have the same people moving around. Well, there's an emphasis on the shiny thing, and the shiny thing is beautiful too. But beyond the shiny thing and beyond being mesmerized by those things, what is the thing that you're seeking? It's important that you know that before you go in. If I'm seeking fulfillment and to tap into the profundity of who I am as a man, and I go into a tantric space and everyone's all on me, right? Or I don't feel safe. I mean, I'm safe in that I'll protect myself, but I feel like people are on some other shit. I feel like folks are, trying to hook into my energetic field in a certain way. We want to do the gazing, but there's no explanation of what actually happens when you sit in a gaze with the person. How does that open you up? And then all this other shit, all these other traumas that maybe they're not even equipped to deal with. Well, then a brother like myself stands back. And I've also gone into the spaces because, I've had the journey of being suicidal at times. So I've had the journey of going in and allowing myself to rope-a-dope to see what's left. Just eat me up, Take as much as you want. Let me see what's left. I've done this in breakups too, where I've given up all my stuff, and just to see how much is this person gonna take, and then being like, okay, that's all that's there. Like there's just a little bit left. Let me just step away and build myself back up together. So that makes me an excellent guide in terms of being able to identify certain characters. And I'm still going in testing, but now I'm gonna move with more wisdom, which means some things may change in the spaces that you find me in, the people that you see me doing work with, and the way that I might call some folks out. But if I call you out, I'm calling you out with the intention to move forward. That's it. And I'm willing to be called out as well, because my journey is to really call myself out as much as possible, and I need help sometimes. So I'm open to your thoughts on this. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and step into the next phase of a little preparation time before I hit hyperspeed. I feel strong today, happy, grateful for all of you who've come in. And again, feel free to, Instagram is for short posts, but I'm using Instagram to share what I need to share from the heart. You guys get the download, and then I'll also put these things on my YouTube, so it's easier to just listen without the distraction of so many different, people coming in. And you'll be able to reflect on the wisdom, what's coming through my vessel. And also you'll see the progression, right? If you go through my Insta way back, there's a lot of data there. Good, thank you, I appreciate it. That was for my daughter, my family, my legacy. But really, is Instagram the place to store your legacy? Probably not, because our attention spans are getting decreased. So I'm the resistance to the attention span in any dialogue, but certainly on Instagram. And what I'll do is I'll chop these up and then make smaller things that get even more to the point. The points are, where are you at in your journey with so-called Tantra? Have you identified people that you feel safe to journey with? How can you dig more deeper into the roots of what all these people are speaking about? Same thing with the medicine world. I like all these points. I'm gonna run out of fingers soon. I got another 5. Same thing with the medicine world. What are you doing, and who's guiding you to tune into yourself? What does that look like? And are you able to identify who and what is consistently hooking into you. And who are you hooking into, by the way? Because that's important too. You may be hooking into folks as well. And the question is, how do you compensate them for that, right? Are you take? Yes, we can be in a mode to receive, but also I think we can actually create dynamics where everyone is refreshed at the end. And I have had to navigate so many dynamics that I realize only now, my God, they've been taking little sips off of Ezria, sometimes big gulps, and I've just been like, whoa. So the amount of energy that I'm receiving and mana that I'm reclaiming is amazing in this point in time. And I know that once you begin to do that, the resistance will be for new things to come and to take, because it's an addiction that we have. We're an addictive group of beings. The experience is an addictive experience to be here and all of this melee, because there's so much that we can do and there's so much that can be done to us. And then what? So this is a special place to be, in consciousness, in time, and I just invite you all to consider what I'm sharing. Guys, bring these topics up in your retreats. You know, I'm sharing the shit so that other people can talk about it. And I'll hold the space because I have the ball and the willingness to speak to everything that I am in this frame, even if it's uncomfortable. And I just ask, don't fucking run away when I start talking about it. If you need to run away, let me know when you'll come back and we'll finish the conversation. Thank you, Pierre. Good to see you, man. Yeah. Good to see everyone who's come on. David, proud of you. Jeff, Aloha, Megan, Lena, Lang, FG News, talk about it. Halos, good to see you. Excited for you to come here. Jacqueline, look forward to speaking with you mañana. And Human Advocate, I love that name because that's me too. Anastasia, Retina, Woman Be True, I dig it. Jenny Jen, and there's my brother Pierre. Okay, thanks for rocking with me in this time. Does anyone have any question before I go? I'm open to question, a thought, an expression. And if not, you know, my honor. What I invite you to consider is, who are you before you step into these spaces? Whether it's a retreat, whether it's a coaching space, those of you who are coaching and guiding people, really fill in, you know, what's your identity shifting into? Less of identity, in truth. Like underlying, I am a force of nature, in nature, beyond nature, right? Because we're consciousness navigating. So I'm shifting into less of Ezria and more of beingness. Like we were in that one men's group when I came from a tantric retreat, and I said, wow, fellas, they're like, what's up? Like, what's the purpose? And I'm like, just to be. And dudes were like, and then what? And then what? You know, and I was like, wow, I've just come into some profound understanding of myself and that I'm okay as I am, and I can just unveil and unfurl. But yet we're, even in our spaces, right, even in the space of the men's group, there's like, well, what does it mean? What does it mean to just be? And then after me saying that a couple of times, guys were like, oh, some people are like, yeah, cool. Now, me just being doesn't mean I'm going to be inactive. Doesn't mean I'm going to not do things. I'm going to shift into a continually more powerful, coherent, strong, virile, passionate, wise, functioning, purposeful, and chill version of myself. So I'm tapping into all the volcano, all the Pele energy that's here, and I'm directing it. And so I become more like a laser, and that's a laser of awakening. Now, if I fall asleep, I want to have cultivated dynamics with the men around me that are men that I can trust, that'll fucking ante up when we need to. So to say, ante up doesn't mean we put money in. Ante up means we show up for ourselves. And also, we show up for the purpose of what we know we're here to do. You are powerful, David. You're powerful, Lang. You're powerful, Pierre. You're powerful because you're in the frame of something that can contain a lot of power, and because these frames are also able to hold for the unfurling of the power of the feminine, which means then that's amazing, right? Because we get to witness and observe. And maybe that's what we get into in some of the Tantra, right? Don't bust it. Don't. Why? Because you get to observe and you can feel. You can feel all of her pleasure. while you're holding the space for her, but don't have to get sucked into it, so to say. You know, the observation and the viewing of that pleasure, us pouring attention onto the unfoldment as it shows itself to us, that's a beautiful thing. Then you enter into the zones. I've already had these experiences, and there'll be more to come. But because I've navigated some of them, I'm not so impressed. I'm not swayed from the work that needs to be done, because I'm a mission man. Whether I've enlisted, you know, or not. Before military was even in my mind, I dropped into this body with the intention to get some shit done and with the mission. And so I'm hungry for it, you know, and I did well when I worked with the military, and I had to hold myself back in some ways. And it's not because I did so much PT and so much training, you know, and like I'm on their mission. I have my mission, which is a beneficial mission for humanity. And so, you know, you can feel it, right? When you feel me spooling up, I'm hungry for it. And also, I'll do the best I can. So I know it doesn't end with me. So what I'm willing to do and deciding to do was put as much good vibes and come into also balance and receive and learn. I'm a student now, always. Then I'm going to do that, you know, and I'm going to honor all the cultures that present themselves to me. And I'm also going to call BS. I'm Haitian, right? We have a reputation. But beyond that, because we still, as Haitians, we're stuck. We so-called liberated ourselves, and then we dressed up like the colonial folks. We implemented an empire, even though there's great things that we did, but we didn't liberate ourselves. We didn't emancipate ourselves in truth, right? Because the French then came and they levied certain things. The system at play came, and that's what happened. So what I learned from that is, do I have anything to brag about? No. But do I have something to lean on? Do I know a taste of the energy that moves through my system? Yes. Am I willing to navigate with that? Manuele, sorry I missed you guys last night, man. I needed to rest. But you see, I'm rested. I'm way rested. I'm up. And it feels good. So I'm glad I honored myself and gave myself time to just rest yesterday. Brother, I love the post that you shared with Sashi, and also speaking to, you know, the nice guy, as we have these talks in our men's groups, and also the bad boy, because we know that some women just like to have some shit happen to them. They like to be dominated in a certain way, and it's okay, right? But can we do that, if necessary, in a way that's beneficial and healthy for them? Some men like this too. There's a pleasure in the surrender. We know this. Can it be done in a healthy way? How do you get to that point? How do you identify? How do you deal with the traumas that come up? I more love the post because it brought me right back into this space of, well, ultimately, the men are doing one thing, they're doing another thing, and they're both missing something. And I love that she spoke to that and that you helped them. The depth of the human experiences is identifying, remembering how profound we are, and experiencing a journey of fulfillment. And this is the work that we do. The brothers feel more fulfilled at the end of a men's group because we witness them, we love them. We can be in a nice balance of loving the heart of man and what it goes through, loving those little boys that come to us in the bodies of men to navigate the other levels and steps to them coming into the maturity. I love maturity. I spend a lot of time with older men, learning from them, watching in awe, thinking, damn, you're wrinkly and fucking strong, and you know some stuff. I don't even understand what the fuck you're talking about, but I'm trying to record this. I took notes. And then later, you know, there comes a time when the generations are far from being willing to or even having access to those men, because they look at so many of us in a way that they want to protect their wisdom. They don't want to throw it, you know, throw the pearls to the swine, so to say. And I'm not saying we're that, but I am saying I love what was posted, and for what it sparked in me was the appreciation of the source of what we want, to always look to what is it that we really are seeking, and to get help if we can't figure it out, because it hurts to be confused, right? To feel lost. And this is where a lot of men seek to terminate themselves, because they don't know that they can just let it pass. We'll hold you. Allow yourself to be seen. Let's speak to what's going on. We'll help you articulate what you didn't think you can speak. Come alive again. Witness yourself. Love this journey that we're on together. Honor yourself. What are your principles? Let's define those. Let's create those for you so you can stand in them and you can present them to whoever you choose to partner with. Then you have partnered with yourself, and you present that partnership in a larger partnership with partner, divine partner, woman, male, whatever, and also with your children, right? And you can help to guide these other people who are coming in from a space of confidence and a space of everyone's learning, because we got masters coming in right now. That's why I'm focused on supporting, protecting, engaging with the fathers as they father their children and they husband their wives and their families. Cool. So that's the recap. So thank you for posting it. I really appreciate all the things that you share. I appreciate the work that you're doing. He's going to be, Manuela, you need to check my brother out, because he's also guiding people through hypnosis and also breathwork practices. He's going to help men to navigate mantakchia as he's described, but it's really before him, the microcosmic and macrocosmic orbit, which is a way of moving that energy, right? And circulating that energy, and then bringing more vitality to the body, and not just, having to expel, to ejaculate all of your vital force out, but getting to know it. And it's also okay, as that writing speaks to, in certain intervals, to keep the pipes clean, so to say, it's okay to ejaculate as well. But you have everything in moderation, and you have to identify our periods as men, our cycles as men, and what does moderation look like for you as an individual. And so there's where we bring in more awareness, okay? Because once we deprive ourselves of certain energetic state, we're not able to function in the same way. We can't see, we can't decipher what's going on, because we're busy, we're in a state of what you can call catastrophic failure. Did you know that when you drink water, by the time your mouth is thirsty and dry, or your lips are dry, your feet are dry, you're already dehydrated, right? We'll do some workshops on hydration and also some great other ways to hydrate here in Tulum. We also have a lot of health things. So Manuel, what I'm gonna do, on Sunday evenings at my Sifu, my Kung Fu teacher, now we're gonna offer a donation-based class, which we can open up to the men and the women. It's gonna be on Zoom. I'll post about it tomorrow. And it's 3 treasures Tai Chi. But for us, for the men, this is just a beginner thing, which we can involve everyone in. But then for the men, I'm going to have, again, the Tai Chi immersion. We'll do a men's immersion at some point where we can wake up. We have the meditation, we have Qigong, we have Kung Fu beginner practice, right? Because he's in the line of Ip Man as well. So I'll disappear at some point. So I can go to Florida and train with them just on my own. But then we'll have access to Filipino martial arts, knife fighting, combat training. But why? We have it with fundamentals and principles. And then internal martial arts, which will complement the Muay Thai. And I'm also going to meet with the Muay Thai instructor today to kind of bring us into some workshops for that too. And where I'm coming from this is not just to run straight ahead into beating each other up. What are the foundational principles of these arts, and how can we share those in a way that you can practice little bit by little, one kick a day, to cultivate your master, your inner master, your mastery of the journey, which will bring different fulfillments and balance to our men. So I applaud you for the work that you've been doing, and also the work that you've done on yourself. Many people maybe can't tell, but I see you, brother, and I love you, and I appreciate you. And it really touches me to come across men who are so passionate, who've been so dedicated, and who obviously have put in so much work that they don't talk about. Yeah, Pierre. So Pierre, if you want to join in, this will be great. And then we'll see about, I'm going to do more online work as well, with mentorship, with embodiment, and then that's it. So this is where we at. Those of you brothers who tune in, if you're feeling lost, feeling out of control, and you don't know if you want to do an 8-week journey with a brother such as myself, guess what I can do? Let's do a blueprint session. Reach out to me to find out about that, what that entails. The blueprint session will line you up to be able to, because so many of you guys want coaches and you can't afford. Well, what about a session that'll help you get to a place where you can maximize the information, move along a pathway that will eventually certainly open you up to be able to afford whatever coach that you want. It doesn't have to be me. The blueprint, right? So I'll be doing more of those, and it's easy. 90 minutes, we drop in, and there's a cost associated with it that can be broken in a couple of ways, but it's got to be covered, because this is my time and my wisdom that I'm sharing with you. And you then get the opportunity to quadruple down, and I've had nothing but success with it. I don't even advertise. I haven't even put up I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I haven't even shared one testimonial, because I don't have time. And it doesn't matter, because the need is there. It's there deeper beyond having to do testimonials, but maybe I'll do that when I have more time, creating more time for myself. But look, I'm not doing so many funny things with Instagram. You get more value from me in Instagram by not editing, by not taking the time to create any gimmicks. I'm just speaking to what it is right now in real time, and then I'll put it on YouTube, and there you'll have it. I gotta go. I gotta get a couple things done. Love you guys. Breathe. And catch up with us this week at Mentorship. Catch up with me this Sunday online, which you register. I'll put the link up, or just reach out to me, and then after that, we can go ahead and add people. Catch up with my brother Manuele. Jacqueline, we catch up soon as well. Tuesday, I sent you a text, Tuesday 2 p.m. if you're open to that. Be nice to have conversations. I love you so much, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Really. There's just, honestly, a couple of men who exist in Tulum who I'm touched to my heart just by their presence, by them existing, and, the work and the dedication that they put out into the world. This is one of those men. So, yeah, but, I won't get too emotional right now, but I just said thank you. Really. Love you all. Aloha. Please tag people. Share the message. Tantra, you're getting into it. How do you feel? Right? You feel funny as a brown person in the tantric spaces? It makes sense, but we can talk about it. Also, before entering into those spaces, what are some foundational things that you can navigate? Thank you, brother. Where can you be honest about what you feel? And I hold these spaces for people who look like me and who don't, whether they're in ceremony or whatever, because I want to know what the fuck it is. And I'm not going to have a hang up. Even if I have a trigger, I'll navigate past my trigger, because I've navigated so much shit in this frame. And now I'm grateful for it all, because I see that it wasn't just for me, it's for you. So take advantage, please. All right, thank you. Aloha. Have a wonderful day. Love you, brothers, sisters. And when I say it, it isn't on some bullshit. This is how I view humanity. Some of my brothers and sisters I want to wrestle with, and some of you I want to hug and feed. So I'm trying to I think I need to balance into the hug and feed, receive. Base, base.